Hey there everybody, this is Patrick from Lost in Games. Today we are going to start a new video type which is called the Healy Purge. So I have hundreds, I'm not kidding, hundreds of games, and one of the struggles that I constantly find myself having is I run out of room. And so what I do about once or twice a year as I go through all of the games that we play and decide which ones I'm going to keep and which ones I'm going to get rid of. And because I have so many games, I can kind of afford to be picky. If a game is not at least very, very good, it's probably not going to stick around. That means that sometimes I am going to get rid of some good games. It means sometimes I will keep some games just for nostalgic purposes, because maybe that's the first worker placement I played or this or that. But I'll also get rid of games, even if I like the game, if it's a game that doesn't make it to the table or it's not asked for by the family a lot. So this is an experiment. You'll have to let me know down in the comments if you like it and would like to see more of these. I want to be very clear, the games that I'm about to show you, most of them either A, I haven't played, I've read through the rules and wasn't that interested in it, or B, I think it's a good game, it's just not a great game or a game I absolutely need to keep in my collection. So I'm not at all going to say that any of these games are bad games. They're just games that I don't really have room for in my life. And if you saw my game room, which someday maybe I will show it to you, you will see why I have to make these hard choices. So we're going to go ahead and begin and do our very first Purge video of Lost in Games. Okay, the first game on my Purge list is Kingdom Builder. So Kingdom Builder is a game that is put out by the creator of Dominion, which is a very fun game that my son and I like to play. This game took a lot of flack because it wasn't Dominion. But I think if you're creating games, there are some game creators who kind of do the same thing over and over and over, and some who try things differently, and this is a very different game. This, I just want to be really clear, is a good game. I like the game. We've played it a few times and we've had fun. It isn't awesome, but it's not bad either. It's a good, fun game. The bottom line is this game never gets asked for, and when it comes time to play a game and I go look at all the games on my shelf, I look at it and my eyes glaze right past it. And so after a while you just have to kind of decide, hey, do I want to keep it or not? So Kingdom Builder, we're gonna put this on the Purge list. I do have multiple expansions all stored in this box. I think it's a good game. I would recommend, if you like this game, to go ahead and keep it, but for us it's just not popular enough in our family to keep. So it is the first one on our Purge list. The next game on our Purge list is 1775 and 1812. So this is part of a series of games by Academy Games. They have 1754, 1775, 1812, and then Vikings 878. And they are all really good games. I enjoy them all. They're all similar. They're different. They have different facets and they have different aspects. I've decided to keep the Vikings game because it's England and has some unique mechanics. And I really enjoy 1754, the French and Indian War. I just don't need 4 games that are this similar to each other. So when you look at these, I looked at all of the games and I decided which one could I live without, and I started with this one, and then I thought of 1775 and I thought, does it bring anything to the table? Does it even make it to the table? When I look at these games, I want to play the French and Indian War one almost every time. So again, 2 very good games that I would recommend that you get if you like Academy Games or you like this system, but for us, I really only needed a couple of variants of it. And for, I think 1754 and 878 are the variants that I need. So these head off to Noble Knight. The next game on the list is Yamatai. Now, I'll be really honest, I haven't played this one. This one is, as I understand it, is a more complex game, and it's very similar to, in complexity level, to Terra Mystica, which my wife and I enjoy playing. You know, I don't know what it is about this game. Because I haven't played it, I can't give you a judgment. I've kind of read through the rules. It seems like a decent game. It's just that I know if I have a feeling when the time comes to sit down, if I'm going to get my wife to play a more complicated game, almost always she's probably going to ask for Terra Mystica. And so again, this is one of those titles that when I go down and she says, bring up a couple games for us to choose from, I, for some reason, just am not really excited about learning it, and I'm not really excited about keeping it, and if that's the case, why is it on my shelf? So, Yamatai, somebody out there is going to get a good game that hasn't been played with a lot of love. Next, we have Marvel Legendary. So, the Legendary system. I have multiple Legendary titles. I have Alien, I have the Alien expansion, I have the Predator expansion, and I bought these thinking I would get into them. For some reason, when I opened the Marvel ones up, they just did not do it for me. It was something I'd hoped to play with my younger son, but in the end run, it's more complicated, so he wasn't really interested in it. And when I looked at it, I don't know what it was about it, but I just wasn't that excited about it either. So it's a hard choice, but if we're going to play a Marvel card game, the game we enjoy playing is Marvel Munchkin. That game just kind of just runs fast, you live fast, die hard, throw powers all over the place, have your favorite heroes in it. It's fast and furious, and we're done. And again, I've heard lots of really good things about this game. I think if you like the Legendary system, you'll probably like this game and want it. But for me, if I'm not actually going to sit down and play it, I'm not quite sure why it's going to be sitting. There's somebody out there who will want to play it and love it. So this one made it on my Purge list as well. Lowlands. So I really enjoy Agricola. I really enjoy Caverna. My son and I enjoy playing those games. My wife likes playing those games with us. I bought this game thinking it was going to be like those, and it is that kind of a game. There's only so many farming games you really need, and when I look at it, it does have an interesting mechanic. You're not only kind of growing your farm and doing that, you're also trying to do it in time so that the locks don't get, and all the lowlands get flooded with water. And I don't know, it got good reviews. It's got great components. I mean, by all means, I should have loved this game. But I read through the instructions, and in reading through the instructions, all it really made me want to do was play Agricola or Caverna. And so what that tells me is those are the games that I should be playing. Those are probably never going to leave my collection. I love them. I think they're fantastic. This one I've heard is a good game. I'm probably just not going to need another farming game unless it brings something very unique. And the very unique thing that this game brings, with the flooding and the dams and the this and that, that's not what I need apparently. So Lowlands, good luck to you. You will do well. There are plenty of people out there that want a fresh, nice copy. Okay, so here we have two biggies. We have A World at War and Gathering Storm. In the last couple of years, I've really gotten into war games. They tend to be most of what I buy right now because I have so many regular board games. And in one of my buying frenzies, I bought A World at War because it was basically branded as the big kid on the block. And then this is the prequel game, The Gathering Storm. I also bought World in Flames. And the more I studied, and the more I watched videos, and the more I read, I think A World at War is too much for me. I don't know, A, that I'll ever play it, and I think I need only one gigantic super monster game, and I have World in Flames Deluxe and the expansion that has all the expansions in it as well. And this one just seems to take things farther than I need to go. So it was a tough call. I enjoyed seeing it on my shelf, but the rule book in it is literally like this thick. And I don't have time. If I'm going to set up a game for months on end and play it, I better really, really want to play it. And the more I learn about this game, I just think it is, I think it's probably a fantastic game, but I think it is probably too complex, too crunchy, and too many moving parts for me. So this one hurts a little bit because I always envisioned myself. They did just come, GMT did just come out with a Pacific variant of this game, or they're about to, that I strongly considered backing at one point. But then when I finally made the decision that a World at War just isn't going to be for me, I obviously don't need that either. So I'm sure that this will go out there and find a good home. I know there are people that are obsessed with this and will spend weeks and weeks and weekends and months playing it. I just don't think this one's going to be me. So this is one of my first war games that I've spent a good amount of money on that I've decided I'm not going to play. So it was a hard choice. I really looked at World in Flames and I really looked at this and I decided which one of these mega monsters do I want to keep. And it was World in Flames. And I don't even know if I'll ever play that one. Someday when I have the table space where I can set that bad boy up and keep it set up for a few months and play it every single weekend, then I might go ahead and do it. Or if I can ever get a grant, a buddy to actually play war games with reliably and consistently, then maybe this game that game will happen. But I can say for sure I'm probably only going to fit one of them in my life, and this one just isn't going to make it. So somebody will love this game. It just won't be me. Okay, the next game on the list is Doctor Who Risk. So this game was a game I was pretty excited about, and then I just kind of read the rules, and I love Doctor Who, and Risk can be fun, but for some reason it just, I don't know, just didn't work for me. It just didn't click. So it's got little Daleks in it, it's got a little TARDIS in it, it has everything that I should like, but something about fighting worldwide battle with Risk and Daleks and things like that, and Doctor Who just, I don't know. It just sat on the shelf, and never once, even when we sat down to play Risk, never once did I say, hey, I have to play this. If I'm going to play a Risk, I'm probably going to play, what's that version, Risk 2124 or some 2150, or Game of Thrones Risk. This, I'm just not going to keep it. Not going to keep it. And in the other Risk category, we have Halo Risk. This is something I played with my sons, and we've played it a few times. But they played it once, they played it twice, and then they never were asked to play it again. And I kind of bought it to play with them because the family loves doing a good Halo deathmatch. So, like I said, I love Risk, I think it's 2150. Love that game. That game is super fun. And I haven't played Game of Thrones Risk, but it looks amazing. So if I'm going to keep a couple Risks, those are probably going to be the ones I keep. Unless my sons beg me to keep it because they really love getting their Halo Risk on. This one's probably going out the door as well. The neat thing about this one is it's got a ring map, which is like as long as this table. I mean, and that's pretty cool because it's kind of representative of the Halo ring. But when you're playing with two sons, that means there's 3 players. That means somebody's going to be on one side, somebody's going to be on the other, and some poor fool is right in the middle and going to get the pogies beat out of them. So maybe that's more doable with other larger groups, but when you have, well, it's a cool idea and a really cool game board. The people on the edge just have such advantage over the people that are in the middle that I don't know, never hit the table again. So there you go. Okay, so here we have Legendary Civil War. All these have little tags on them. That's because the place that I'm going to sell them, I wanted to see what's in there. This actually has 3 expansions for the Legendary game. It has the Secret Wars 1 and 2 and the Civil War. And I mean, these things are still, to show you, these things are still in the plastic. Again, I really went back and forth about whether we were really going to play the Legendary Marvel system. And since I have decided that we aren't, this obviously I can't keep the expansion either. So hopefully somebody will get these expansions and love them, and will play Legendary Marvel. Now at the same time I bought Legendary Marvel, I also bought DC the Deck Building game, which was supposedly an easier game. When I first bought the Legendary Marvel, I was like, oh, this is way too complicated for my youngest son. And I thought, well, this one is could be less complicated by everything that I've read. This one still says 15 and up. I've read the rules. I think my 12-year-old could play it, but the rules just didn't really jazz me. And when it comes to playing games, I'm usually the one that says, hey guys, come play a game with me. And I can get them to the table depending on the game that I pick. And I'm sure my son might try this out. But if I'm not excited about it, it means I'm not going to get it to the table. I do have a couple of expansions in here. I have the other Teen Titans Core, and I do have the Watchmen expansion. And I did hear the Watchmen expansion, which unfortunately is not very good, is what I've heard. I don't know. I haven't tried it, but I'm going to be selling all of them. As you can see, I merge expansions and things. That is a testament to the bookshelves that are running out of room, and then books start piling up on tables and things like that. So that's DC Comics, the deck building game. All right, now this one is a big one. This one just came in the mail. It is a Kickstarter, Invasions, the Barbarian Invasions of Europe in the Dark Ages. I have no idea if this is a good or a bad game. I've heard it's good. I just know from reading through the rules, it's not a game for me. I read through the rules. There's a few tablets full of paper in there for doing the accounting for your empire, and as I was popping out the counters, big nice thick counters, I just was not excited about it at all. I read through the rules and it just sounded like way more work than fun. There are some people out there who really love games like this that are this complicated, and you know, if I'm going to play a game where I have to have a tablet and track things, I probably am going to play something like Space Empires by GMT. And I love history, and this is a beautiful production. It pains me. It's a beautiful production, and inside I have the Kickstarter expansion with it, and I know they're going to do more with this system, and I love ancient times, and I love ancient battles, and I love different groups. I have no idea why this game did not click for me. None at all. But for whatever reason, it didn't. And so if that's the case, the iron is still hot. This one needs to go out there. Somebody will find it a very good home. Somebody who really wants to learn it and play it. They said that age 14 and up. I'm sure there is a 14-year-old out there that really could play this. But man, this one is a toughie. This one is. This one looks like it's a complex game. So, Invasions. I never knew you. I wish I had time. And I wish you had excited me like I really wanted you to, but I'm sure you're going to excite somebody else out there. So that is Invasions. So last but not least, we're going to move on to this pile, and we're going to talk about Exalted. Oh, we have one other one, actually. We'll save that one for last, because that one's kind of tragic. Exalted. So Exalted 3rd edition came out. And as you can see, I invested. I love the Exalted universe. I think it's really, really cool. The problem with Exalted is I've never liked any of the game systems for it. They have been entirely too much work. Exalted to me, when I read the setting, makes me feel like it needs to play fast and furious and cinematically. And I missed the first edition, wasn't interested in it. I got the second edition a couple of years ago only and read through it finally and was like, whoa, this is really cool. And then I read the system and I was like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. The layers of complexity on this system go beyond a chore. Just having a simple battle could take hours. And the other thing that makes this system hard, and for me, it's the death knell. See, I just don't have time to play very often. And so when I do play, I need games that play fast, that play easy, that I can get to the table, and I can spend my time focusing in on the story and less on all of the complicated rules. Exalted 2 suffered from this, and Exalted 3 also suffers from this, is that the rules are so complicated that you just can't make bad guys on the fly, right? Villains, opponents, whatever. If you make Exalted, you want to create dragon-blooded. You want to create all demons. You want to create all these things for your Exalted solar exalts to fight. But if you have to go through this massive endeavor, there's not... Look how thick this book is. This book has... Oh, what does it have? 700 pages? 650... 661 pages, including the table of contents. And it doesn't have everything you need to run. Just think about that. I mean, these are huge books, and they don't have everything you need to run. I can't just whip up a mythic creature for them to fight. I can kind of fake it. I can kind of shoehorn in the Exalted rule, the solar rules, and kind of give them solar charms and things like that. But I just can't whip it up. In the old system, they had to create a whole book which actually had all of the different kinds of bad guys in it, because you just can't whip it up. And I don't know. I need a system for Exalted that is fast and cinematic, and this is not it. I will say that the art in this game overall is way better than the previous editions, but I want to say the introduction to the world in the second edition for some reason excites me a lot more than this version. I had to think really long and hard about having these leave my collection. I have them in PDF, so I have the material still, but if I'm not actually ever going to play, and this much of this rule book is rules and charms and character creation, so why am I keeping it? I just don't have the shelf space for that, and I have too many boxes of books already. So I'm going to listen to my wife and do some purging. So Exalted 3, never got a chance to really try it. The combat looks fine. I'm not bragging on it. I just think it's too much for me. It's not the type of Exalted game that I would want to run. And so with it, of course, means I'm going to get rid of the expansions, the Game Master screen, the Jumpstart kit, and this cool book, Arms of the Chosen. Because they're mostly rules, and if you're not going to use that system, why would I keep them? So I've decided instead I'm going to keep all of my second edition stuff because they have all of the fluff that I want in it, and that's what I'm going to keep. And then I am currently working on a custom system for it so that I can use that with my son and my friend Flynn and his kids when it's ready. And that is in work. So Exalted, I'm sorry, but your time has come. And last but not least, I'm getting rid of Beststones Outpost. Now, if you've watched my channel, you know how much I enjoy the Nations at War system. This is an expansion for Lock and Load Tactical, which is another system I enjoy. It's a bit more complicated than Nations at War. And you're like, well, if you love Nations at War and you really like Lock and Load Tactical, why would you get rid of this? Well, remember that part of the video where I said I have hundreds of games and I have to combine multiple games in boxes just to get them all fit on my shelf. And even then, they don't all fit on my shelf, and they're piled up on some table, up my big table downstairs, 2 tables. This game I bought recently, and guess what? I already had it. That's right, I already had it. So, I could, and I know there's people out there like, well, but now you got all those cool counters, you got some extra maps. I have basically everything for Lock and Load Tactical System, which means I have basically all of the counters that I need, and I have all of the maps I need. I think I'm just going to return this to the place where I got it, sell it back to them, and then they will be able to put this in the hands of some other Lock and Load Tactical lover, and we'll find a good home. So there you have it. Thank you for sitting with me as I went through all of my Purge games. As you can see, that's quite a pile. I'm not quite done. There may be a few more that I'm kind of considering and thinking, but I am. These are the ones that for sure are going out the door. So thank you. Have a good day. Remember, keep playing games. If you feel the need to purge, if you have a game sitting on your shelf, it doesn't have a connection to you, have something that you really want to play, that just means it's a spot on your shelf that another game you really do want to play could be sitting. So, thank you very much. Have a good day. Don't forget to get lost in games.